Miss Lucy over here.
Hi, I'm Lashing Out Lucy.
Yeah, we actually have a guest in our building, but we're going to kind of give you guys a little bit about our show before we begin. Go ahead.
All right, our show basically is about all the salon and spa and shop hot topics. We love to educate the consumer about patronizing a licensed, trained beauty professional, and then also we love to expose the bullshit through fun and laughter.
Bullshit. And if you've been in the game long enough, you know it's a bunch of it going around. But yeah, so we want to introduce our lovely, lovely guest. So we have Ranch John in the building. So we're excited.
Super excited.
Super duper excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to you. Just introduce to everybody that doesn't know you, what you do, about how long you've been doing it. But I'll hand it on over to you.
Absolutely. Ranch John. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years.
Oh,
congratulations.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
20 plus years. Became a professional, back in 90? I'm going to date myself.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Okay, so I became a professional back in 95.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier, but I went to Missouri Barber School.
Mm-hmm.
It was located over on Lindbergh.
Yep, I graduated from there too.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Started in 95, started off at a shop over on Cherokee Street. Let me back up. Started at a shop, Lee Moss Barbershop.
Okay.
Which is was located in Webster Groves. Then went over to went over to Cherokee Street, worked at a shop called Sweet Shears. That's where I really kind of gained my ground, was in the city on the south side, over on Cherokee Street. Opened up my first space in 97.
Okay.
So I was 23 at the time. So that was a major accomplishment for me at that time, because no one in my family had ever owned anything, you know. So opened up my first space at 23 and just grinded out, you know, and it's been one heck of a career. You know, so here I am today.
Yeah,
awesome.
And we can go into that when y'all start.
I know. Well, congratulations to that, because I'm not gonna lie, this is not no easy industry. So to be able to be in the industry that long and to be at the level you are, the success. I mean, you have retail. You have retail that's in, what stores are they located in right now?
Yeah, talk about your retail.
Don't forget
line.
about that. Talk your shit.
Okay, I didn't know if y'all wanted to dig a little bit.
Yes, no,
We gonna dig, but we just want a general synopsis of everything. Give us the whole timeline.
So yeah, I do have a product line. It's the TCM Classic Man line. We've been in existence now for a little bit over 5 years.
Okay.
The product line actually started in my kitchen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Remember that song, The Classic Man?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a wild idea to come up with an all-male grooming line. My ex-girlfriend at the time, she came up with the name.
Okay.
No, she was like, you should call it The Classic Man. And so,
Oh, you know what? Never even thought about what the TCM stand for. Okay.
so I give her credit. I ain't saying no names, but I give her credit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's okay. That's okay.
He said, "You know who you are.
She knows.
You know who you are."
She get a point. But no, it started off in the kitchen. I would have a big vat, and I would pour different oils in, and I would look at the ingredient story on them, and I sauld say, you know what? I think this would be good.
This will pair well with this, and this will pair well with that.
Bought some jars.
Yeah.
Created some labels. You know what I'm saying? I was grinding it out from that space, you know.
Yes.
I was cooking it up in the kitchen. All right.
Legally.
You know. And then I started working for a company by the name of Design Essentials.
Okay.
All right. And so actually working for the company Design Essentials, I was their first platform barber.
Okay.
Yeah, so Miss Cravan, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's
I've heard of her name.
yeah, she's if you don't know her, you need to get to know her. She's part of the who's who in the industry of St. Louis.
Okay.
Okay, so she was one of the leads over Design Essential, and she brought me in. I about pitched it to her. I said, you know what, Cravan, I think it'd be a good idea if y'all had a barber. Y'all don't have any barbers, you know, on your team, on your platform team. You know, and every time she would come in the shop, I would sell it to her like that. I'd just buy something.
Yeah.
Hey, look at what I did with this right here. You know, I take some spritz and create something,
Right.
Even with some spritz, or whatever, So
said, "We gonna sell this."
We gonna sell this, So anyway, she talked to her team. They brought me on as a platform barber, and I really kind of got my training through that.
Okay.
And through that, I met my boss at the time. His name is Terry Armstrong, and Terry and I, we developed a really good relationship. And so he was coming to St. Louis to do some business, and we had a good conversation. I said, Terry, man, I'm creating a product line. I was talking to him about it or what have you, just picking his brain on it. And he was in town. We had a really good discussion. And I just asked him, I said, man, you know what, man? Because he's very knowledgeable in what he does. And I'm knowledgeable in what I do, And so I said, man, I think we should probably team up. What you think about that? And so we partnered in together, and there you have it. The Classic Man, TCM. And
Okay.
I love it, and the fact that you just said the name, that what it stood for, I didn't even know.
didn't?
And I've used your product before, and so I thought it was amazing to even be able to see, because you're right, there isn't, like now you're starting to see there's more male lines that are out,
Absolutely.
but before, legitly 5 years ago, there wasn't, and if
There
you did
wasn't.
see it, it wasn't for us, at least we know it
No,
wasn't
it
for
was
us.
not.
That's what actually-
Paul Mitchell had some stuff,
I'm glad
but
you said
nobody
that,
else
because
did.
that's what actually sparked it, because
Yeah.
we didn't see too many male grooming lines at the time.
You didn't.
And so I would have to manipulate, create cocktails with the product, with the design products, which were some great products, but they didn't necessarily have anything specifically for men.
Right.
Right. So,
Because you can do, I mean, of course, like I think a lot of the beer gang came around,
Yeah.
and then that really blew it up to more like men are looking to look better, feel better. Like they're not just like now, like even like beard straightening, people are really legitly into that now. But I love that because it inspires other people to see that the industry has room to grow. The industry has places where you can go. I think a lot of people think that because we're in this industry, you have to sit behind a chair your whole entire life. And I think seeing that and being a representative in that, seeing like, hey, even though y'all think it might be easy, he was like, oh, no, I'm going to keep putting the bug in her ear. Let me just, I was talking about that line, right? And just keep kind of doing that and pursuing it. And a lot of people won't. They'll hear that no that one time and be like, well, I guess I might have to just do it all by myself. So, no, I love to hear that story and how.
But some of the things that I just want to point out that you said, and with us, we're both educators too. And I'm glad we got you on.
Yeah.
So even though both of you guys are barbers, we're not talking from the esthetician standpoint today, but the industry is the industry.
It is.
And the thing that I love that you said is you started out at 23.
Yeah.
You started your own space. Then you moved and opened up your own salon. But then while having the salon, I follow you, so I remember all your content. And your content in just the Cherokee salon was amazing. I feel like that's really what started and took you over the top too,
Yeah.
as well. But I love what you just said is you went to work as a platform artist, as their platform artist, and then you refer to your boss. I think what a lot of this younger generation doesn't understand is in order for you to be successful in this industry, you have to have all those streams of income to come in. You got to be behind the chair. You should do platform artists, work with a product line. You got to be an Indian to know where you're going to have somebody.
hey, let me tell you. So one of the things that I did, and when I tell you that I grind. And so even when we would go do trade shows, before I actually launched the line itself, I was printing up T-shirts. Had different sayings on T-shirts. I had my own line of straight razors, the Rance John straight razors.
You got to keep trying until you can get it to the
Hey,
pop.
listen,
Yes, sir.
and by me working for design, I would buy a bunch of design.
Yep.
And I would take them to the trade shows with me,
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to do what you have to do,
Yeah.
and try to figure it out and see what where your niche is and what you're comfortable with and what works for you.
Right.
So
And I'm glad you're saying that because a lot of them, whether you're a nail tech, a Esty, a Cos, or a barber, they look at, especially this younger generation, and it is about passing the torch, but they look at like the reels and all of that, and they think that that's the only thing that's going to put money into their chairs or on their beds. It's not. You got to grind.
You do.
You got to do something. You got to work. So I'm really glad that you said.
Well, I think
you said
'cause
that.
even when you think about it, if you really think about him, he created a brand. It wasn't just about, oh, I'm just doing hair or I'm cutting hair. I'm doing this. I'm creating a brand.
Well, you created a brand. John is a brand first.
Right, because
Yeah.
I'm not, the actual at 23 is when I actually opened my first space. That's not when I actually started.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I opened my first space at 23, so it was called Supernatural Styles at the time, and that was on the corner of Jefferson and Cherokee. You guys remember where that big Indian was?
Yeah.
So that was my first shop right there on the corner. I eventually purchased that whole building. So I bought
Wow.
I bought that building at. I was probably about like 25. I bought that whole building. So
See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I mean.
That's what I'm talking about.
There's more to the story.
Oh, we know.
Black man magic.
There's more to the story.
Go ahead.
Quick as it ascended, it declined.
Hey, everybody got
preach.
that story, boy.
But
go ahead.
listen, I bought the building at 25, which it actually had 1, 2, 3, had 3 bays at the bottom, and then had 2 spaces above it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just stepping out on faith. Like, hey, look, the guy. He came to me and said, hey, look, I'm selling the building. You my first option. Do you want to purchase the building? I said,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what's the
So what
worst
he
that
did,
can
He said,
happen?
hey, look, I'm gonna show you what you need to do. This is an old white Jewish guy. And he said, I'm gonna show you what you need to do. And he just kind of took me by the hand and just showed me what I needed to do. You know, and that deal was as simple as him taking me into the loan office, and he said, the lady asking him, is he gonna pay? And he said,
He vouched for it.
Baby.
when I tell you this,
I already know.
he said, she asked him, she said, is he gonna pay? And he said, oh yeah, he's gonna pay. And she said, okay, well, we'll meet up here on Tuesday and da-da-da-da-da.
See what I'm saying?
Look, and let me tell you
Connections are
something.
everything.
He went into the office dressed like me, right?
We can't do that by
Look,
ourselves.
he went into the office dressed like me, some little jeans on, and, you know, had his T-shirt on or what have you. And I walked in there with a 3-piece suit on.
Hey, you gotta show
We
up.
gotta show up.
You gotta
we got
show
to. You ain't need all that. You ain't need all that.
Overdressed. I could have unbuttoned a little bit.
It was really him. That
was really
Jewish
him.
man. All he had was his word. Hey, he gonna pay. That sealed the deal.
That sealed the deal.
Right.
But at the same time, I still had a lot of room where I had to grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so, with that being said, and how you spoke about the new generation actually have a lot to offer, right?
A lot of potential.
They have a lot to offer, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we was the new generation at one point.
At that time, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, what I had to learn was I had to learn how to be a student.
Yes.
And
Say
so
that. So I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
3 times.
I had to learn how to be a student.
Yes.
And
Gotta learn the
You
game.
think that you are a student, and in a lot of cases, you think that you are, right? But you have to learn how to remain a student.
That's true.
And remain in that.
Repeat that one more time.
Yeah, you have to really do. You really have to learn.
You
how
have
to
to
remain,
learn. You
how to
have
be
Man.
a student.
Be
I
open
think that's
to
the
it.
biggest hurdle that I have with a lot of my students. Well, I call them my students, I call them my babies. Even some of my employees is that they want so quickly to say, I'm a boss, or I want to be a boss. I want to be this, I want to be that. You ain't even been a student of the game
Yeah,
long enough
yeah.
to say that. That
know,
title gonna be there.
and-
It's not gonna go nowhere.
And when you remain in the posture of a student, there's a certain level of respect that comes with that.
You better
Yep.
say it.
You know, when you move and you start putting the cart before the horse, that's when it's not as respected. You know.
Correct.
So if you remain a student, well, let me just get back to what I was saying. I had to remain a student. I had to learn to remain a student. But I learned to remain a student through fumbling. I ended up losing the business. I ended up losing my building. I got married. I ended up losing my marriage. You get what I'm saying? So it was a lot of loss.
Yeah.
But it was looking at it now, it was some good loss because
Yeah, absolutely.
in that desert moment, you know, going through my valleys and going through my trials, it gave me an opportunity to step back. And when I took some time and I stepped back, you know, it gave me an opportunity to like really look at my brand and really look at what I could have accomplished at that time and just recreate everything. And so this was like the early 2000s. So I want to say this was probably about like 2005, maybe around 2005. I just was sitting in my apartment over on Delmar at the time. I was talking to a buddy of mine that used to work for me at the first place, right? And he and I, we was just brainstorming. We was coming. We had a pencil and pad. We had our notebooks out, and we was just coming up with all these different ideas, And I was like, man, we really need to bring back we need to bring the straight razor back. They wasn't doing straight razor work no more at the time. Okay, so they stopped using the straight razor at that time.
Start getting sharp.
Yeah, so they was just it was just all about the linings, And so I was like, man, we should bring back that old school feel, bring the straight razors back in, different things like that, and make it upscale, and just start taking
Causes more technique.
Yeah, take it to another level, but there wasn't any internet. At the time, as far as like with the IG and with all of that Facebook and all of that type of stuff. So we didn't have all that yet. This was all pre, social media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these were just ideas that we were just kind of coming up with and creating and what have you. And so it was a guy that I was working with, this guy named Rich. Y'all let me know if I'm talking too much.
No, that's what we're here for.
We're for that.
So I was talking to a guy named Rich, and Rich was the guy who used to do some of my logo work. And I had an idea. I was like, I just started looking at everything from a larger than life perspective. And I remember watching the movie, what was it? Juice, right?
Yeah.
And in the Juice episode, Queen Latifah, she was talking to the DJ. Remember? Was it Juice? I think.
No, but was it Juice?
I got the wrong movie.
I'm about to say, I don't remember Queen Latifah and Juice.
No. I got the wrong movie. What movie was that Queen Latifah was in? And it was a DJ contest in the movie, and it still had the dude from Juice. No, it was Juice. It was Juice. Because remember, he was a DJ in the movie.
Look, you looking at the wrong person.
Maybe I got movies mixed up. I don't know. Anyway, look, I'm going to just tell this little piece of the story.
Tell the story.
So anyway, so she was talking to a guy. He was an aspiring DJ, and he wanted Q. That was
Q, yeah.
Q. All right. He was a DJ in the movie. Y'all got me tripping.
I said, don't look at me. I'm the wrong one.
Y'all got me over here tripping.
I'm just not no person.
She was talking to him, and so when she was talking to him, he was like bigging himself up, right? And in the movie, she was just like, nah, you just local. Like, known
locally
where you are.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that stuck out with me, and I was just kind of like, I was like, wow, okay, so I need to really, before I even try to go anywhere else, like outside of my state, I really need to conquer St. Louis.
Correct.
Right? And so that's how I started looking at it. So you would hear of different barbers in the city, but we hadn't met each other. Like, we may have passed each other, what have you, but social media brings everything closer.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
So
I know some more social media people that I ain't never met them in person. We cool.
Yeah, but I would hear about like the Steve Lacy's. Like I was looking up to Steve, and I ain't even never met the man. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I would just hear about him, and I was like, it was like a myth. I was like, man, that dude, he sound like he doing it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I heard. When I heard about it, I was like, dang, he really?
Because Steve was like really that guy.
He was, because
know?
he started off as a barber, then switched over to the
but
car
this is
side.
before he switched over. As a barber, like he was that man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, always had parties and everything.
And there was another guy by the name of KP. He was like the guy, you know what I'm saying? So I would hear about these different barbers locally, but I hadn't necessarily met them yet. And so I was like, okay, I really need to be able to stand out, and really develop and create something. So I started kind of trickling, going to hair shows. I would go to the Proud Lady and different things like that, and I would see something different. It gave me a different visual. So for those who don't go to shows, I would say go step outside.
I go every year. I'm going to the IBS show in July.
Yeah, step outside and to give you a different picture.
It really do.
And it started giving me a different picture, and I was able to see some things, and I was like, wow, okay, I could take that back home and do this and do that with it. And so that's when I started rebranding myself and getting back to the guy who created the logos. I said, man, what if we come up with a different logo? I want to put Ranch John, and I want to put the razor as the J, and and all of this and that, my real name is Rance Minor, okay? But John is my middle name. So I was
Okay.
like, Rance John, it just sounded really smooth. You know?
It does.
From a business perspective.
Great branding.
Yeah, and so we just did. We created that. Then I got with a photographer. We started taking photos and different things like that. And this guy by the name of LB, you know LB, y'all know LB?
I'm familiar with him on social media.
One of the dopest photographers you ever. Hey, I'm telling you,
Really?
he's one of the illest in the city, in my opinion.
Okay.
One of. It's a lot of y'all, okay? So you know how you say, people folks be taking it like,
Hey, just shout out his Instagram. All you gotta do is
It's
shout
just
out
like
his
our
Instagram.
industry.
Yeah, it is.
It's just like our industry is growing. But you know what? You got to stay relevant because it's just like our industry. Like it's getting ready to be a paradigm shift.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
No, it's
'Cause-
taking place now. It's taking place now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to be some up and coming 20, 30-year-olds that's going to come shine.
Yeah.
But they haven't emerged yet. Not as I don't feel like they've emerged as fast as, like you said, the LBs or the Steve Lacey's because they're lacking that student being an Indian perspective.
You know
They want to
what?
jump out there and be the boss.
I kind of look at it slightly different. I see.
You do?
Yeah, I would say I would look at it a little bit different too. but
Because
I'll say
they're growing up in a time where they're emerging in a time when they know how to utilize certain platforms.
yes, that's what I was gonna
For
say.
their particular audience.
Oh, they're creative, and I think they're talented. I do.
Yeah.
But when you talk to them and you see them, yes, they create those 13,000, 26,000 followers, but it's not equating into their money. It's not and don't get me wrong, I got the same, success disaster story too. Lost everything, repos, cars, houses. You got to go through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they are missing. I talk to them all the time. They're missing that student component. They want to just jump to the boss mode.
Right.
I think they
Now, I
have
can agree with
a
that.
view
Yeah,
that's different.
and I think that's all what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this, the biggest thing, because I'm big about like following certain people on Instagram, kind of seeing where the industry is, because I think for them, they don't have to go to shows because they can literally scroll down Instagram and see all the barbers. Like his
They
name just left my
still
brain.
gotta go to the shows though.
But in their mind, they didn't grow up in that type of, everything was right here at my hands. I can go look up. I'm trying to think of his name. It's 360 Jeezy. 360 Jeezy. If you go look him up, he's one of the hottest barbers just on Instagram, YouTube. That's the guy that people will go to and watch a haircut and see what that looks like. So there's certain people, what happened is, I think they're not necessarily wanting to be the local person. They want to be the Instagram person. They want to be the Facebook person. They want to be the YouTube, the YouTuber.
Well, back to your point though, but
Yeah.
360 Jeezy been doing it for a long time.
He's been doing it for a very long time.
360 Jeezy, I know 360 Jeezy, but 360 Jeezy, he kind of like jumped on the YouTube.
Yep.
when it first
Yeah,
started.
When it first started, so
he
he's been
he saw it. You know? He saw it. I wish I saw it. You know what I'm saying?
But
he
see, I'm
saw it.
agreeing with both of you all.
Yeah.
But the only piece with me talking to them, what both of you all are saying is correct. I just fear that when they get to our age, that mindset is going to disappoint them because they did not take the time to be the student or
That's true.
or learn the business side of things.
Yeah.
You learn those things by going to the trade shows. Getting those other streams of income,
And seeing-
knowing the back end. Just like in a restaurant, you got the front of the house and you got the back of the house. The back of the house is the business side, knowing how to sell retail, that customer service we've been
We
talking
got to
about.
get them away from one likes though. Like that's the thing. They're
I
interested
understand.
in them likes because
Yeah.
that's gratifying
So
quickly.
I agree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, you do have some in the new generation that they bypass certain things and they skip over certain.
Or they don't feel like
steps.
they have to pay their dues.
Yeah, they skip over certain steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the talent.
Yeah.
They might be extremely talented, so they might skip over certain steps. One of the steps might be customer service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
one of the steps,
Keeping their finances.
one of the steps might
Booking.
be
Yeah.
You know, so with that, I totally agree.
And that's where kind of my passion come in and why I'm real big. And you hear me say it all the time. It's like, I want to pass the torch because y'all they're so much talented than I feel like I was because they have more opportunity.
Yeah.
But I want to say this too, though. On the flip side of things, you have some people that come up in our era. They haven't embraced what's new.
No, they won't.
Right?
Oh, they
And
stuck in the ways.
So they get stuck.
Yeah.
Man, I don't do enhancements. Man, I don't be on social media. I don't do all.
You better
I'm
preach.
from the old school.
Hey, look.
She on
Okay.
social media all the time. She
Yeah,
tell all
okay,
her
so,
business.
So you're not
Yeah.
doing
They
this.
think they
you're not
know
doing
everything
that.
about you.
But
Please.
you
Industry
stuck,
changing.
and you
The
can't
industry's
get
You
out
stuck
of,
and can't
You
elevate.
can't get out of a $20 haircut,
Yeah.
At all.
and you wonder why.
And you
Yeah.
wonder why you still at that same shop. You ain't even replaced your paint, your baseboards.
But you jealous of this new kid that done came along.
They're making all this money.
Because they feel like he
that's
faking
making
it.
at the minimum $50 a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in your
Yeah.
mind, I'm better than him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
I'm so glad you said that because I do get a lot of flack from people because I'm 50 and I'm proud to be 50, but I'm definitely I have a lot of my students that call me on a regular, on a weekly. I try to stay connected to them just so I can know what this next new generation
You have to.
is coming up because
That's
you
the only
have
way
to
you grow.
evolve.
You have to.
You have to evolve. You have to that new 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're gonna be 50 at one time.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to stay relevant in this business, you just
You have to stay connected.
Yeah, you need,
gotta stay
both are
connected.
needed. Both are needed. You need the generation before you, and you do need the generation that's coming behind you.
I have a lot of barbers that one thing one thing I told myself is that I never will like push anybody away that's trying to come up in business that have any questions.
Yeah,
or
me neither.
Or want some information because I was that person. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I know what it felt like to try to gather information and
It was
people
like,
that-
what the flip? No one wants to help?
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for those who want it, oh man, I got you, bro. What you
man.
need?
That's
man?
what I do too.
I got
But
you,
you know
bro.
what? It's correct. It's people that's in our generation, and it's some that's in their generation. Like soon as they make it, my students tell me all the time. They'll inbox somebody that's been in the game, and they like, oh, schedule a consultation with me. It's $100, and then they don't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's scamming.
Yeah.
Like I'm real passionate about this industry. Any of my girls that come up and get a loft or a suite in my business, I'm gonna push you
Absolutely.
to be great. You know, because I'm not behind a chair no more.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to push that next.
No, I'm with you because they need that. They need someone to be able to be there because when you fall, you want to be able to be caught by at least a net or something. Something that's gonna be like, hey, we still got you. You still good. You may think you know it all, but let me help you out. But now we got the conversation going. I do want to play a little game.
Okay.
A little game of this or that.
Okay.
In this game, so we're gonna take our shots.
I think I switched.
We don't want to
I
have
take
two.
y'all shot. I'm gonna swig some water.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So with this game, all the game entails is that basically you have to choose this or that. And if you choose one and we all agree with it, we're gonna take that good old shot. Okay? So
Okay,
let's
but if
start.
we don't agree,
If we don't agree, he's just gonna swig his water, you know.
oh, all three of us gotta agree for the shot to be taken. Okay, good. Okay, good.
We agree.
Okay,
We agree.
I'm ready for the game.
All right, so let's start with this one. Do you believe that this is a hustle or a business? When you think about the industry as a whole, because a lot of people see hustle first. But go ahead.
It's definitely a business.
There we go.
If you treat it like a hustle, it's gonna treat you like a hustle.
Yes, and it's gonna do you in too. Okay, so I'm with you on that. That was our first one. You ready?
It's a swig.
You toasting me? Come on, toast it up with me.
I kind of
Yeah, toast it up. Go on, toast it up too.
Ooh, I felt that.
I know, right? I know, right? Okay, so here we go. Do you prefer to work in a shop or be the owner of the shop?
At this. Okay.
That's a loaded question right there.
Well, honestly, currently what I'm speaking of, like right now where I'm at,
Yeah.
probably neither.
Neither. Okay.
I
Why
I
neither?
agree with you.
Yeah, probably neither.
Okay. Why?
get tired.
Well, like I said, I'm 49. I've opened up my first space at 23. You know, so I've managed, I've seen successes. I've had I won championships with teams.
Okay.
You know, I've had to reestablish teams, win more championships. You know, so I've had a lot of people that came from that I worked alongside with. I helped build their careers and get them into some great spaces. You get what I'm saying? So I've seen success from that.
Okay.
But I've also you also experienced some pain with it a little bit too. Now I'm not scorned from the business, but at the same time, man, I just felt like God said, I'm gonna just tell you, I was working in the shop and I was toiling with should I get a suite or not because I was kind of feeling like it.
Yeah.
And I'm a man of faith, so the shop was empty. I had just finished my client. I was waiting on my next one to come in. I'm sweeping up, and I felt like the Lord spoke to me and said, it's time. And when he said it's time, I agreed with him, and I was like, it is time. And it was like so much of an assurance, like in a peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, where I could actually let it go because I was toiling with it like, man, should I let it go? Should I sell the shop? I don't know. You know, and I was going back and forth with it.
I got you.
And I kind of like let it go, and I was just kind of like, you know, and the Lord spoke to me and said, it's time.
It's time. Let
And
it go.
so that chapter is closed right now. Now, I'm not saying I would never do it again, but as far as where I'm at right now, I don't neither. You know, I'm good. I have a suite. I'm enjoying my clients. I needed the rest. It gave me opportunity to focus on my family, focus on my product line. And I'm just in a different
And
space
just you
right
book
now.
your clients and you.
Yeah.
I'm like that too. I'm telling you, I had a commission salon, which is totally different. You're the boss, the HR person, everything. And several times, pre-COVID, COVID, all that, I quit, I came back, I quit, I came back. And I said in 2023, I am done. Yeah. But I'm a little different. I don't want to even do services, but partly is I feel like, I just want to teach the services.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing a different avenue. But I feel you. I'm just like, I came in this year and I told my staff, I said, I'm finna create y'all into some bosses.
Yeah.
I said, we gonna switch from commission to booth rent. And I'm out of here. I'm not even gonna be in here. Like, y'all can call me for advice, ask me questions, but it's a wrap. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of begging people to do stuff.
Yeah.
I want you to want it. And so if you want it, I'm here for you. If you don't want it, hey, you can go on about your business. Just have your boo friend on Friday. All right. So yeah, for me, it's about residual income. So I'm trying to just I'm not even trying to do services no more. I'm with you. It's neither.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you ask for booth rent or do they just automatically pay? I'm just curious.
Oh, I'm bougie in this industry. I have an app because a couple of my booth renters didn't call me on a couple of times. They was like, well, can I pay you early this? No. I'm not coming in the shop. I'm not begging for money. I'm not collecting. We're on an ACH debit system.
There you go.
And you're going to. And baby, I've always been bougie in the business.
That's why I asked her that, because I was going to give her some info on.
And how to make sure that's.
Oh, baby, I don't play that.
No,
I don't. Yeah,
said,
I
let's
don't,
grab that money out the bank.
Yeah, and I told them it's an app, and you got to put in one payment. You got to put in two payments. So I would know which account you got your money in. But if it ain't in the one, you better make sure it's in the two.
other one.
And then if it don't draft,
That's what I'm talking about.
out of them two, you get a $75 charge. And guess what? I can be in Dubai. I can be in Cancun. I can be in something. And guess what? They all got their own code. They all got their own key. And when I feel like looking on the cameras, I can look on the cameras and see what's going on. But other than that, I don't have to be nowhere in the building. That's the residual income that I'm on right now.
I wish
I'm
look,
out of it.
I'm a young one in this game. Look, I'm a little tadpole trying to get
Well, now
to where
you
y'all
where he
been
is.
and-
Now Just like you got a suite,
but I
he
feel
got
like
a suite.
he's had more. He's bought buildings and things. I've not been there yet.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
I've done it where I've worked in a barber shop. Now I have my own suite, and I know I'm
getting
building
there.
and building and building. I'm a builder. I've always thought about anything that I want to do. I want to build it. I want to get to a place. I don't want to jump higher than what I need to jump, but I don't want to be stagnant either.
Right.
So no, I'm with y'all 100%. So hearing it, I like to. I'm the one person that's gonna sit in the room and learn. I'm gonna be the person that's gonna be like, You and sometimes you be like, why you so quiet? 'Cause
I don't
I'm
want to be
learning.
behind the chair,
'Cause
or
I'm
I don't want to
learning.
be the owner. I just want to collect the money. Okay.
So it sounds like you got a shot to take. Don't take your shot.
For me, because I said neither with
You
him.
said neither with them.
Oh, I
Go on,
agree with him. Dang. You didn't agree? What's your answer?
No, I actually am like I'm kind of torn between the two. I love working in the shop by myself. I do, but I don't see a purpose being there by myself. I feel like there definitely needs to be a way.
Somebody else?
Yes, somebody
Okay.
there to be able to give the knowledge that I do have and all of the things that it takes to build, because I'm one of those people.
You want to
that-
build a team. You need a team. Yeah.
Yes, I'm at that point in my life. I know, like, I've been around people that have gotten past that, but I'm at the point where I'm just.
I
like,
would love to
wanna
see in
all
the
of this.
next 2 years, 1 to 2 years, that I know you go by LaCuts
Yes.
and you really own LaCuts, but he grooming salon and spa.
Grooming, spa, and grooming.
Oh,
Yes.
spa and grooming.
Spa and grooming.
Yes.
Yes.
That needs to be a storefront.
And that's what the goal is. The goal really is within the next year and a half that
I'll
I
tell him.
am.
Tell him what it means.
Oh yeah, so I love telling people, then I don't at the same time. So I really wanted, like how you were talking and saying how you had kind of an epiphany and kind of seeing things. I was in the industry and I seen how people were kind of easing into that. More services. We're not just here to get you a haircut and get you out. We're here to provide services for you. And so I went back to school to get my esthetician license because I would like to have a full service where you can have that spa-like feeling. But the name, he stands for Happy Endings. But mainly the reason why is because there's a lot of space. There's not a whole lot of spaces for Black men to go that's relaxing to them. And what I found with my clientele is that when they come, they're relaxed with me. If they ain't falling asleep, they're letting me know or letting me into their life. And they're telling me things that they don't tell their wives, they don't tell their girlfriends, they don't tell their family. And then I was like, I want to create a space that allows them to be able to do that. But I want you to be able to also see there's another side of being able to relax. There's another side of taking care of yourself. Men are into grooming now. Why not be able to provide that for you?
And I also think that the traditional barbershop setting
It's different
didn't
now.
allow, like, a lot of dudes will talk about, man, you getting a facial.
Yeah.
Or, dude, you getting your beard this and that.
Or you
know what I'm
your
saying? It's
Toes,
the-
you getting your toes
just the-
together. Like,
yeah, yeah.
It's just like it was kind of a taboo for you to even want to just going to get a manicure.
They feel like that's for women.
It's for women.
Yeah.
So why not provide that environment that allows you to go in? You don't have to go to the nail shop and sit next to a woman. You don't have to go to a barber shop and sit next to a woman. You can go, and this is a place where you can be able to be comfortable in this space. So I want to fully be able to provide that. I've seen ideas of it, but I haven't seen it fully to where I would like to go and take it. So yeah, that's something that I'm here for. I always love the idea of keeping the name kind of secretive, because I feel like I ain't even gonna lie, I wanted it to be more like a little secret society. Everyone that knows about it. But if they don't, you don't need to know. It's not for you. But so that's my dream, my goal. And I've always wanted to do it in a way that keeps it intimate. I don't want it to be, and if there's opportunity for franchise, I would love, because there's no Black franchised barbershops. You can go to a Great Clips, you can go to Lady Jane's, you can go to all these places, and they offer hot towel and things like that, but sports
Not from
clips
a-
and things like that. But is there a Black franchise barbershop that offers services to us? It's geared towards us. And
Well, I don't know of any,
I don't.
Yeah.
so that was something that was in my mind. Like when you said dream big, that was my big dream. And it's still
It
my
still
big
could be
dream.
a dream.
It's still my
It's
big
still
dream.
possible.
And that was one of the things that I was like coming into an industry and being as on the women's side of it, and seeing how women love to get pampered anytime they can. If you got expendable money, you want to go get pampered, if that's getting your nails done, your toes done, if that's getting a facial, if that's going to buy clothes, or you doing anything that makes you feel good, I want to also be able to provide that for our black men. Y'all stressed out too.
Oh, I forgot about this. Chris said juice. It is juice. He confirmed.
It was Juice.
Yep. Chris,
So you was right. You was right.
that's one of your clients.
Chris Harris? That's my boy, yeah.
Yeah, he on there.
That's my actually, me and Chris went to barber school together.
Oh, really?
Hey.
Yeah, so that's another thing I love about this is being able to interconnect everyone and really connect everyone, because we may know each other on Instagram or see each other, and really, because I wouldn't have known your story. I wouldn't even known TCM stand for
The classic man.
yeah, the classic man. Like that's a dope name, and just to be able to have that. I'm not even gonna go on with no more this or that, because I want to talk about this $100 haircut. So we know who was that? That was Jalen Rose, I think is his name. Jalen, there we go. Jalen Rose was just talking about this probably about a month or two ago, and he was saying that every barber should be charging $100 for his haircut. And when I think about that, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little intimidating to say $100 haircut. You can't sit in my seat unless you. But I see the reason for it, because I do feel like the industry needs it.
So
Because
explain, educate me, what is the $100 haircut?
Yes.
Well, let me say this. So, when he said the $100 haircut,
Yeah.
he wasn't saying it from the space of every barber should be charging $100, right? He was saying it from the space of, let's not look at it as something strange for a barber to charge $100. Okay? And what he was saying was, if you are a barber that has done the education, if you are a barber that takes pride in what he does, if you are a barber that's extremely professional, if you are a barber whose craft speaks to that dollar amount, then you charge what you worth.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And we shouldn't downplay someone who wants to charge what they are worth.
Yeah.
And that's how I took it. Okay.
Yeah.
So $100 haircut, I'm gonna just be honest with you. $100 haircut, that ain't really nothing right now. It's something, but it's nothing. And I don't want to say it like that. I know guys who charge way more than that.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? So I know some dudes who
What
charge.
they doing for $100? What y'all doing for $100?
And I see that's the conversation that I think is why I really kind of wanted to bring it up, because a lot of people do say that. Well, what are you getting for $100? Like, is it extra? Is there this? Are you getting something that someone else isn't giving?
I'm gonna tell you this. So, if you look at a pair of Balenciaga shoes, right, or you look at a pair of Gucci shoes, you will look at a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes, right, or some red bottom sneakers or something, right. Then you take a pair of Vans, or then you take a pair of Pumas, or you take some Converse, and we sit them all on the table, right? And all of those high designer shoes that I spoke of in the beginning, I set them to one side, and then I take the other ones that are mid-grade or a little bit less than,
Yeah.
right? I set them to the other side. Then I bring in another tier of shoes, and I bring in the Payless shoes, right? Then I bring in the Skechers, and I put them in the middle, right? So now you have 3 different levels
Yep.
of shoes, right? And price points. But if you put the shoes on, they all gonna work and operate,
Yep.
okay? Now, to the consumer, it's more so about choice. And then you have different types of people that are attracted to different types of shoes.
Yeah.
Now, the person that created that Louis Vuitton and the person that created that Christian Dior shoe, right? They were thinking, I want my consumer and the person that's gonna patronize my business, I want them to be more of a higher class client or a higher class person that'll purchase from me. The person that created the Puma, they were thinking more of functionality, and they were thinking more so of, it being still good material, but it's gonna get the job done.
Right.
Now the person who created the Payless shoes, they were thinking, I want to go after that person that might struggle a little bit and
Want something nice.
but still want something that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so my point being is this. Even with the Christian Louboutin, right? If you go purchase a pair of those shoes, you're gonna spend some bread. So when you spend that bread, you better believe the packaging gonna be right. Where you purchase them from, the atmosphere of the store is gonna be nice. The customer service should be great. If they
Amazing.
If they're
You're
not
gonna get a glass of wine,
if they're not judging you when you come in.
True.
That's another
true.
story.
That's a whole other topic.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you go in there, you expect to be treated a certain kind of way.
Absolutely.
Because you're spending a certain kind of money. Right?
So does that go back to knowing your clientele, knowing what?
It's not even a matter of just necessarily knowing your clientele. It's about adjusting and having that clientele that you want.
Attracting that.
Attracting that clientele.
pulling them in, bringing them in.
Because let me tell you, my clientele that I started off with, I want to say the percentage of my clientele at the time was lower class, lower working class. I put it like that, and cats from the streets. You know, at the time when I first started off, I was young. You know, a lot of the guys I knew, they was from the streets.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know, I was on D-boy time. My schedule was on 8. I was on 8.
But at that time, if you would have set the tone, you could have charged $100 by then. They would have paid it.
Well, you know, we wasn't thinking like that. You know, I wasn't.
Yeah, you're right.
I wasn't really thinking like
No,
that.
you
I was
wasn't,
thinking more volume.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
cheaper cost.
I was thinking more
Create
volume
more
at that
volume,
time because
yeah.
at that time the whole thing was, man, they shop pay.
Yeah.
You get
so
what I'm
they
saying?
successful.
So they booming.
Right.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
He got a lot of clientele.
Because
You know
barbers
what I'm
back
saying?
then was equivalent to selling crack. You sell crack for $20.
Exactly.
You do a haircut for $20.
You get my point.
You on the
You get
block.
my point.
I'm in the
And
shop.
so when you start
we
making
equal.
those adjustments, and then like I said, when I went through that whole rebranding phase,
Yeah.
and I started like really noticing some things from what some guys was doing out of town.
Yeah.
Like, man, how y'all making? So them making like at that time, them making $50 a haircut. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, man, how y'all? I'm getting the $20. I'm getting $15 and $20. I'm like, man, how y'all doing that? You know. So I was like, man, you know what? I got to step it up. So I started doing appointments before they started having the booking systems.
Yeah.
So I told my boy, one of my best friends, like my brother, I told Snacks, I came back to work, I said, Snacks, hey man, we gonna start doing appointments. And so this, this is my guy. So he was going through me through the whole transition.
Right.
So he was rolling with me. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
I'm like,
All right, I guess we going this way.
so he was just looking at me, all right, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
he just did whatever I did. I got so much love for that brother. But I was like, man, we gonna start doing appointments, man. I said, so get you an appointment book, and you know, we just gonna start doing appointments, and we gonna start dressing nice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We gonna change up how we dress. You know, so I started coming to work with button-ups on, and you know, different things like
Yeah.
that. And I started taking
You got to
appointments.
set the tone.
But you know what? I started noticing something. I started noticing that my clientele started changing because some people, the clientele that I had at that time, they weren't used to that.
Yep.
Right?
And they weren't
Made 'em
comfortable.
uncomfortable.
And they started making them a little bit uncomfortable. But you know what was happening? I was growing. And I started seeing like, you know, man, I really want to be at that level. You understand what I'm saying? Now I went from $20 to $30, from $30 to $40, from $40 to $50. You get what I'm saying? And it just it kept going.
Right.
You know, and my transitions kept taking place where, you know, I went from writing them down in a
paper book from Sally's on State
yeah,
Beauty.
exactly. You know,
Yes, baby.
to the online system.
booking.
So I was using
I'm not fooling with no
Style Seat
appointment book.
before when the Style Seat first dropped.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So it was myself, my homeboy Haven the groomer. That's another guy y'all need to have on here. Sonny is another guy y'all need to have on here.
We keep asking Sonny. He keep
Sonny don't
playing
want
us.
Yeah, Sonny's just like, sure, but
I'm busy. But anyway.
Sonny-
we reaching out to
Okay,
people.
Sonny-
We're
yeah, Sonny a really good- he a real good dude. Real
I know. We follow him.
Yeah.
But we formed a group called what was we calling ourselves at the time? I forgot what we was calling.
Y'all was some of the first ones, all those names. Y'all was the first ones to kind of create that professional branding look, like
And we
coming
we
out
did-
with y'all
and
black and white
we
photos.
we did it together.
Crisp
You get what I'm
looks.
saying?
Yeah,
And
y'all
we
hit
started,
around
like,
the same
kinda pushing
time.
each other.
Yeah, that was
So-
setting the tone. It's like we separating from this traditional barbershop. Everybody packed $20.
Exactly.
Y'all did.
And we
I
we
didn't think
started
of it
doing-
like that,
and
but
we-
y'all changed the game.
And he was on one side of town, I was on one side of town. Now both Sonny and I, we both were on the south side, but Sonny was like deeper south. You know, so we weren't affecting anything. You know what I'm saying? So we was like, you know what? We just kind of like joined forces. Because
Yeah.
See, I love that.
We was going to shows. You get what I'm saying? And so we would bounce ideas off each other. You know, we started doing these classes together in the city. You know, and we would take them and we would go over to Illinois, do some classes and different
Oh yeah,
things like that.
I kind of came up around that time where Haven was the man,
Yeah.
and we were around the corner from him. And what was happening is that you could see how people were kind of like, "Hey, y'all charge what?" And then like, cause we would get some of those people. I ain't even gonna lie, I got some of them people. But it was just the whole like you could see people because they was having classes. They was doing the men
Units.
the units, yes. So when he was in the unit, because that was really, really big. When I first came out of school, I think it was 2015, and I was just like, oh, I would like to, but I don't really know. And I do like and I did want to ask you this because like for me, I'm a female in the business, and a lot of times I don't have the camaraderie that men have together already. So when I get in the room, I'll talk to anybody. I don't have a problem with talking to anybody, but I'll be just like, how do I get that connected? You know, how do you move to that next level? Because I'm one of those people that do like, let's connect, so let's do some things, let's try to figure out what's the next move. But how do you feel that is? Because it's not, you don't see like, if you could name a female barber off the top of your head, could you?
Here in St. Louis?
Yes, that are connected in a way, like connected like you guys were connected.
Females being connected.
Yeah.
I like really I don't know because I'm not really as invested in it
Where you were.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, I know some female barbers that are really cool.
See?
You get what I'm saying? And so when I say that, I'm saying like they're cool to the point where it's like I consider them some really good industry friends. You know, like Rachel, the lady barber.
Yeah, I
You
know
what I'm
Rachel.
saying? Dang, what's the old girl that used to work for Sonny? I mean for Haven, the light skinned sister.
Oh, short hair?
Yeah.
Real short hair? I don't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Because she gonna fire me up because I sure can't think of her name right now. but she dope. The other sister, Butter, she's dope.
Yeah, I know. I follow Butter. I do follow Butter on.
The chef.
Yeah.
Tina, the lady barber. You know Tina, Two Wheels.
I don't know if I know
Oh,
of Tina.
what?
I
You
need
better get to
to.
know Tina. Tina's a monster. She's on tour right now with New Edition.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tina's a beast.
Yeah, I don't.
But that's
And
one of the
that's
reasons why we started the podcast, because just
To
like
connect.
you said, is that you and Sonny and Haven, y'all are connected and you all had your own things going on, but you still connected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I am trying to do with these newer like estheticians and just if you're a cos
But you know
nail
what?
tech.
That's a vibe. So that's kind of like one of those
It's
things where
true.
it's like you can't really create that. That's one of those things where it's like, you know, you gel and you vibe with somebody and it's kind of
Yes.
like we have like minds.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because you can't really bring everybody into that. They won't see it.
Yeah.
You can't, but you got to keep going through the numbers to find those vibes.
That's a divine connection.
It is.
Those are divine connections because it's like when you elevate and you have an elevated mindset, you connect with people who have elevated mindsets.
Man, you better tell them.
You can't.
I know.
You can't
You're
really,
right.
You can't really dig through that. You know what I'm saying? You won't.
I just want to, I guess my prayer and my hope is that I see more of that in our community and our beauty industry. Because some people, they might have a connection, but because of lack of trust or things that happened in their past, they be scared to do those things. Like I remember when I broke my wrist, I got 2 friends that are I call them my Estes friends, and like when I broke my wrist, I told my clientele, I can't do services. So I need you to go to Tawana on the south side. And I need to go to Tanisha on the north side, in North County. My clients went because they had no choice. But those 2 girls that me and Tawana went to Estes school together, and Tanisha, we went to high school together, and we all 3 are licensed estheticians. But I gave them heads up, you know, and I'll send clients to her. I support all 3 of them, so we've done that. But I want to see more of that. You know, now I'm trying to see more of the girls.
Connect with right now in the scent industry.
I connect people on Instagram. That's why I said when y'all think about Instagram and these social medias, that's how I connect with people. And that's why I was like, I would prefer. I like to talk to people. I'm in your face. I don't want to text you. I want to talk to you. Pick up the phone. Hey, how you doing? But I like what you said, because that's me, and that's probably why I've kind of struggled, because I am looking for that connection. Like me and you, we had that connection. It was easy to be able to be like, hey, we see things in a very similar way. We see a roadmap, and we want to be able to pursue it, even if we have a little bit of a difference in or a difference in agreement. We still are like, we see the big picture.
We see the big picture.
We see the big picture, and being able to have that, like even when the people that you did mention as far as female barbers, you're right, because I do follow them on Instagram, but I've never connected with them just outside of just seeing what they're doing, and those women are dope actually, and I do want to follow the other. I love seeing everyone and seeing how the industry is moving. Social media has always kept us that way.
Yeah.
You can see things without having to be in the room, because before, like when people say, a lot of people are like, stop telling everybody our secrets, don't tell them what you're doing, and da 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 da. But now that you got social media, it's easy to be able to give information. It's like, inform people, get the information, connect with other people. So yeah, that was it. And Rachel was actually, I was actually going to go to her shop originally before I went to Sterling. Sterling is where I basically did my first 5 years with, 5-6 years. But
Sterling, good guy.
Yeah. Sterling, I talked to him, and he's still like, you got to move up. You know, you got more steps to go. He's always telling me to elevate, always finding ways for me to elevate, or saying like, you can't just be stagnant. Elevate. So I want to create those connections. I'm looking to connections, and that's like Lucy said. It basically, this is our opportunity to do that. Connect with people that we probably would have never connected with. We might have followed on Instagram or seen them on Instagram, but being able to shed light on our industry, because we're the background for most people. Women that are CEOs, we're the background for you, because you stay with your hair looking good. You stay with your nails looking good. You go get your facial. We're here. We're those background people that most people don't even think about. And so you be like, who does your hair? Who cuts your hair?
Yeah.
So this is a great place for those things to happen, and I'm glad you reminded me of that, because I definitely was not thinking. I'm like, dang, I feel like the lone horse out here. Like, dang, who else can I? And when you said that, I just brought it up. Like, there's plenty of successful, talented women that are in this industry.
Dope sisters out here.
Yeah.
I want to just switch just a little bit, ask you a few questions as we descend into the last part of the show. Is that so what is a 2-part question? What was kind of what was an insult or something negative that feedback that you got during your career that you're proud of?
That's a good question. That's a question I need to think about. Let me see. Negative feedback that I got that I'm proud of. Probably that I charge too much.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Look, I'll take a shot for that.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I heard that. I was like, I charge too much. I was like,
You know what? And you said that earlier, And that's kind of how I am with my salon, where I started out doing lash extensions in St. Louis, and people straight told me, nobody's gonna pay $200 for no lashes. They was used to paying $20.
I need to learn how to do lashes.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like, I love that analogy about the Louis Vuitton, the Puma, and the Nike, and
Yeah.
then the Payless, because a lot of people gave me flack about, and people really didn't come to support. I had to have a very diverse clientele, because in order for you to come into my salon that just did strictly lashes, one, you had to put a credit card on file. You could not get an appointment. You can't, even if you walk in, when we talk to you, before we give you your consultation paperwork, you got to put that credit card on file. Because if you don't show up, we're going to charge you.
Oh, for sure.
And we're going to be on time. But the thing that I always preach to is, if we're running late, we're going to give you that same discount. But if you're running late, we're going to charge you. You know,
And
so
that's fair business.
that's
Yep.
fair business. I had to keep my integrity. You know, so I got that flack too. But you got to create your brand and your structure in your salon. A lot of people gave me flack about when they came in. You got to do a consultation. You got to fill out some paperwork.
What's the price point now? Where you charge? What you charge? If you don't mind me asking.
Man, I'm minimum 30.
Minimum.
Yeah, because I'm at the point where now I know and I see that I have to I have to keep raising and going. Because when I originally started off, I think I was at $10, $15 for haircuts.
What's a man's haircut and beard trim?
Beard trim is $35.
Men's haircut and beard trim.
35. Well, it goes from 35 to 45. Just depends on the additional services I give. If I add razor to it, if we actually do a full beard service, then it just makes the price go
Can I
up a
use
little
some
higher.
feedback?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so haircut, beard trim, right? Should just be a flat fee,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't. Don't
A la carte it.
do that.
Okay.
Now give them the choice,
Of the
but let your fee be your fee,
got you.
and charge what you want to charge. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
From the way that you talk, right?
Yeah.
You should be charging for a haircut and beard trim $50 minimum.
That's and I'm not gonna lie to you.
Now look, this is where it gets tricky.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because see, now you have to see that you're worth that.
Yes.
The problem
I was just
is,
gonna say,
the
get in there.
problem is you don't see that you're worth the 50, and it ain't nothing but $50.
Yeah.
They got it.
I'm gonna tell you. Look, when you go up on your prices, I'm not gonna say if. When you go up on your prices, right? Evaluate yourself. Okay, before you go up, evaluate yourself. Ask yourself, with what you offer, is it really worth it? Okay.
Yes.
What you just got through telling me, you said, you know what I want to do is, this was your vision. I'm gonna give it to you really quick. You said, hey, what I want to do is, I want to open up a men's spa. And so what I saw was, I saw a window and I saw that there wasn't any men's spas. So what I decided to do was, I decided to go back to school for esthetician. Boom. You know what you did?
Increased our value.
You increased your value, educated yourself.
Preach to her.
I know, and the crazy thing is, I need it. I do think that I'm worth more. I think for me, it's strategizing, making sure that I'm doing it the correct way.
Listen, you got too many ifs. If no, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Now what you need to do is you need to put a price
She
on it.
need to execute it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Put a price on it, because you're doing everything that you need to do. Now all you have to do is just put the price on it.
You're right. Because I definitely was going back and forth like, yeah, it's time to move this up. It's time, because I moved when
So when you do that, right, and you charge that, okay, and then let's just say, what's the time that you give yourself for a haircut and beard trim? What's your time?
40 minutes.
40 minutes. So 40 minutes, right? And you say 35 for a haircut and beard trim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 40 minutes. All right, for a haircut and beard trim. Okay. So let me say this. 40 minutes for a haircut and beard trim. Do you know, and I'm not saying this in a bragging way.
Yeah.
I'm saying this in a way so I can help you understand. In 30 minutes, I get more for a kid's haircut than what you get for 40 minutes for a haircut and beard trim. Now, I'm not saying it's bragging.
No, I'm not taking it as bragging
What
either.
what I'm saying to you is, from talking to you, it sounds like you already started creating a brand, right? It sounds like you've done the homework, right?
She definitely has.
It sounds like you put in the work.
She
Right?
has.
So now all you have to do is seal the deal. But for some reason, you have a difficult time sealing the deal.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But you know what?
That's what it is.
That's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to tell you.
God
that
put
it's
people
time-
in your
it's time for you-
path.
It's time for you to seal the deal, right?
Okay.
And it's time for you to put a stamp on it. It's
Okay.
time for you to call it what it actually is.
Okay.
What you want your store to be called, what you want your salon to be called, right? That's
time
what
to
you
brand
have
it.
to start branding yourself as now.
And that's
Yeah.
what's going to qualify the $50.
Not necessarily waiting until you feel like it's the opportune time. Now is the opportune time. You're equipped.
Yeah.
You got both of them
You get
licenses.
where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So that's what I had to do. And so that was something that I learned. It was like, I'm Rance John.
Yeah.
And so at the
I'm the
time,
brand.
I'm the brand.
Yeah.
Right? You get what I'm saying? And so when I realized that I could walk a certain place, I didn't know some of these, man, you that barber dude. You know that barber. You know, we have conversations from that. Man, I heard you be taxing. But
Yeah.
you know what's followed by that? Man, I'm gonna come see you though, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, so it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you may not necessarily be for everybody, but at the same time, you're gonna attract the ones that.
You know, for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I was looking at. That's why I was like, really, this like the conversation is needed. Because I look in and view my clientele, and I'm like, this is the clientele that I want. It's not that I can't get it. I think that in my mind, it was just like, oh, increasing it. What does that look like?
And that ain't no money.
Yeah, and when you
Listen,
say it, it's not because when I think about anything that I spend now, it like that ain't no money that I used
And
to think
people
was
would
some
spend
money.
it.
Yeah, so I'm right there with
How
you.
much you
like,
charge for a line?
for just a line by itself?
Yes.
Just no beard or with the beard?
I mean, it don't matter what a beard.
15, 20.
15, 20 for a beard. Mm-hmm.
If you're just doing beard by itself.
I charge 40 just to do your beard, just to line your beard.
See? That's it. But you know what? That's the reason
but-
why the conversation is good for me, because just even
But I'm
hearing
saying
that,
it
knowing
because I
that
want to
is,
motivate you. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I'm saying it because, and that really ain't nothing.
yeah,
When you start talking to other guys and you start finding out what they charging.
yeah.
But he right. Even though I'm not a barber, you a Esty. You doing all this to their hair and all of that.
Yeah,
That
and-
ain't no different than doing
It's
a
a knowledge, and
Brazilian
then
wax
plus I'm
or a
bringing the
mini
knowledge.
facial.
I'm bringing the knowledge that's
I'm give you
different.
some more game.
Yes.
You're a pretty woman.
Yes.
You know how many female barbers it is in St. Louis?
No.
It's not many, is it?
No, it's not. Not
Now,
go
let me
ahead.
say this. Now, you're a pretty woman. It's not that many female barbers, right? You have a niche.
Yeah.
Now, what you have to do is you have to capitalize on that, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to brand that in a certain way to where you market the fact that you are a beautiful woman, you're educated,
Yeah.
you know some things that some other people don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
In our field, in our industry.
Yeah.
I specialize in skin. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about how you choose to package it. And you take advantage of the fact that you are a woman.
Yep.
You know how you got
That's
them-
been beneficial.
you
Being
got
a woman is
listen,
beneficial.
You got
Been
them soft
beneficial.
hands.
Yeah.
You know how many brothers.
You know what?
You
Yes.
know how many brothers want to sit and lay back and have you get them a facial.
But you know what got in my way for a moment? What got in my way for a moment is that I'm very competitive, and I wanted to be able to cut on the same level as the barbers that I was around. And I never wanted to be just relying on like, oh, you the female barber, because what I used to get was it started off as they come in and like I ain't had nobody in my chair, so they looking at me like, you the only one. And I was like, my point was to prove that I can cut your hair.
That I'm just as good.
I'm just as good. And
Yeah.
if I'm not right now, I'm gonna get there. And I think,
But you've
for a
been doing
very
this
long
5 years, so
time-
now it's time you to switch.
and that was the thing. It was like once I got out of like being, I was like, okay, now I'm in my suite. And I was like, okay, cultivate. And I think at the time when I started being an instructor and working and separating from my business, I kind of just was like, I got clientele. Let me just do this clientele. And it was no branding. And like when you were saying it, like you're right, I have to get back to branding and making myself a brand and realizing that
Did you create a logo for your business?
yes, I do have a logo. Like you would think that my mind would be in a different place when it comes to pricing, because I've invested into getting a logo. I invested in finding a place, and when I even set up my space, I knew that what I wanted it to be. So it's just more so of getting that mindset back. I'm no longer instructing, so now I'm getting back to being like, okay, what are we looking for? I know that within the next year and a half, there's some things that have to move. There's things that have to change. So right now, my mindset is we need to make, because I know I have a retirement plan. After 50, I don't plan on cutting hair.
I feel that.
If I can do it before then, I'm happy.
But I think
don't
it
plan
also
on
go
doing
back
that.
to what you said. It's about the divine intervention too.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he put me and Hurt. Like we just became friends in 2022.
Yeah, we work
So
together.
we just worked together, but I'm real big on branding. Yeah. I'm real big on branding, and so I be on her head.
Yeah, when I
Yeah.
talk to her about it, yeah, she does. And every time I talk to her, I be sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, I see it. The idea of it. So I was just like, okay,
I made her do her first professional photo
Oh,
shoot.
yeah.
So I'm finna make her do some more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's all about that.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
And seeing my business as a business. And that's why, but that was my biggest thing when I even coming out, because everyone used to say hustle, hustle, hustle. And I kept thinking to myself, I just want to be good enough to be in the game to even be a part of it. And when I start realizing it is a business, you are creating a brand. When they walk out your chair, I remember a client saying this to me. If you jack up my hair, I'm gonna go out and tell them it was you.
Word of mouth.
I'm gonna be like, you. I represent you, and every time I cut his hair, I remember that, and I'll just be like, yeah, I wish you would get up out of this chair and somebody say, and anything negative about your haircut.
Right.
So it was like that was my goal. I'm very goal.
But how do you handle that if that does happen? Because it happens.
It does, but my thing is, I'm good with constructive criticism. I'm good at coming back in some way. I never had a client, if they say, oh, hey, Trish, like that was too high or this was it, and I ain't like that. I'm the type of person who was like, okay, let's reevaluate. Let's do something different. Because I'm always about learning new techniques. I've always been about trying to figure out how to do it. I never had nobody was just like, let me show you. So I was just like, let me watch, let me learn. Like you were saying, I'm always gonna be a student. I'm always going to be a student to the game because you can't never stop learning something. There's something you know that I don't know.
Absolutely.
There's something you know that I don't know. So I've always been that type of person. It's like I'm going to listen, because I used to be very bullheaded and I didn't want to listen to nobody. Like, you can't tell me nothing. So I had to learn how to be able to be a student.
Yeah.
And if you can be a student, you can be like and sometimes I think that kind of makes me not think about like pricing, like me push my pricing, because I'm thinking, oh, I'm just a student still. So sometimes I do have to come out of
You gonna
that.
start thinking about pricing after this?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's
she
over.
definitely
It's dead and over
is.
now. Like,
She definitely is.
I'm going home and I'm looking
She
at
finna do the red hall price list. I'm gonna stay on you about that one.
If you guys could look through this book right now, this book right here has always been my book, and I've pricing what my haircut when I went to do my suite, what my prices are going to look like. What does it look like for me to make
You
the
might
money
need
I
to
need?
slim your service menu down a little
And
bit.
I think
as
that's
well.
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
My menu is slimmer, but I think I
Given
am.
too many options, people are always going to lean
be all
towards
over the place.
the cheaper stuff.
Yeah.
Like I
learned that.
don't even have lining on my.
I want to take it off. I'm looking to take that
Because
off.
it's just going,
That's
like you
something I
said,
was
it's
looking at.
automatic built into the price.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I was looking to take off. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to get rid of these liners.
So now what I'm getting at is when I asked you, why do you a la carte?
Uh-huh.
Because what I do is I charge enough to the point where it's kind of like this comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so if they say, nah, I don't want that. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is still my
This
price.
is right. Exactly.
And I love
women come in there and say, can I get a 30-minute lash refill? You sure can. It's still $90.
Yeah.
For that, if you want me to cut it down to 30 minutes, it's still $90.
Yeah.
Whether you do 2 minutes, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
it's an hour service, but it's $90.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It go back to what you said about the Louis Vuitton versus the Puma or the Nike. When you go to the Nike outlet or you go into the Nike store, you just go in and you pick your shoe. When you go into Louis Vuitton, they're gonna offer you a wet towel,
Yes,
a
it is,
glass
sir.
of wine.
Yeah.
Then when you purchase, they're gonna have you have a seed. Then they're gonna go wrap your gift.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna put your gift in this nice sturdy box that almost weigh just as heavy as your
know.
shoe. Then you gonna get the box.
And you can't wait to
You
carry
can't
it.
wait to carry it.
Everybody gonna
You
know.
can't wait to carry out.
Everybody gonna know.
But guess what? Regardless, it's still $1,500, ma'am.
Better know.
Yeah.
And I don't care if
Ain't
you
no
decline the
coupons.
wine.
Yep.
It ain't no coupons. We ain't no Groupon.
We're not on sale.
We not on sale. It's never a sale. And guess what? Our price gonna increase in 2 years.
Yep.
Cause I know one bag I bought for $900. That bag $1,800 now.
So this is what I would say.
Yeah.
It's time to give yourself a raise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You haven't given yourself a raise in a while. It's time to give yourself a raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
Definitely.
it's nothing wrong with giving yourself a raise. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
you're
tell you,
right.
I don't make announcements. I don't say.
I don't
say, hey, I'm going up in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, that's some good advice. Just do it.
Do it, and then let them come in and say, if they say anything. Some of them full of pride. They're not gonna say nothing.
They're not.
Yeah.
And some-
So and then you might
Yeah,
have
some
that one.
people
No,
will.
notice that you. Yeah. You know, and it is what
And
it
keep
is.
on going.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Every year, you getting a raise on your job.
You better know it.
And you're getting a bonus.
Yeah.
And you getting money dropped in your 401k. We don't get those things.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we
man.
better evaluate our value, you know?
Y'all are on point 100%. This is something that I definitely am just like, okay. Because I've been writing notes the whole inside side. That's why I was there. I was super excited for him to come on here.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, yes. I've been following him. I'm seeing all the things that he's doing in the community. I'm just like, man, getting awards. Wait, did you get a star? Was it a star?
Yes.
Yeah, that was just
With Hollywood Beauty or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of retail, I want to end on this, and we will announce, since we're live, that we're going to definitely have you back with your partner and things like that and talk more detailed about the retail, but I want to lead into that as we get ready to leave out.
Okay.
So we know our Rihanna's, our Kylie's, they've made $1 billion in retail. So retail is it, right? Can you give us, just however you want to go into it, let us know. A lot of times you see these girls or men and they start their lines, they order product on Alibaba, or they whipping it up in the kitchen and things like that. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you started and some of those things and how you transitioned to get into your Walmarts? Because you're now in Walmart. Congratulations.
Thank you. I
Right?
appreciate that. Yeah.
And
CVS.
CVS.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I seen that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're first time too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute, that's a whole grocery store. Wait a minute.
it.
Amazon.
Now that's how I knew about you originally was Amazon.
Yes. So can you give us a little bit of
Zulily.
Zulily? I love it. Yeah.
No, any place.
Well,
you
can we
need to
keep
get it.
going?
Yeah, go for it. Go on, talk
But give
what I
us, talk
say.
to us. Give us a little bit of that retail journey, or for those who are interested in doing it, just give us a little bit, and we definitely will come and have a part 2 and just talk about strictly retail.
Okay, cool. So on the retail side, you might want to. What I would suggest is, for those who are interested in doing a product line, I would definitely say there's a couple different ways you can do it. Mm-hmm. One of the ways, and the easiest way for a lot of people that are interested in doing it, is probably doing what's called private labeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I preach it in my classes.
So with the private labeling, if you are a barber, stylist, nail tech, whatever you are in the beauty industry, in the field, if you've built up a nice brand, right? You start establishing a nice brand, you can do a private label. A private label is, let's just say, for instance, like if I use myself for an example, I have the warehouse, I have the plant, I'm able to create a base product. Let's just say you want to create you may want to start off with like a pomade or some shampoo and conditioner. So I will have a base product that's a pomade or a shampoo conditioner. And you can order from me, and we can have a conversation about, these are different scents. I could take this out, or I could take that particular ingredient out on the ingredient story, and we'll do the labeling for you. Okay.
Correct.
And we have some bottle choices that you can choose from, you know, and that's a lot of times that's how a lot of people get started.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you have to understand it depends on how far you see your reach, and it depends on, you know, where you see your company going. Okay, so if you own your ingredient story, then that's a whole nother conversation. So when you start owning your ingredient story, then that's when you want to connect.
That's where the money at.
That's when you want to connect. Well, it can't.
Or becomes.
Actually, I could say it's money on both sides.
Okay.
But it just depends on what you're trying to do and where you want to go on what you want to play, the long game, short game. It just depends on
Right.
what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so if you want to create an ingredient story, then you connect with the chemist. You connect with a chemist. You find you a chemist. You know, I don't give out no contacts when it comes to stuff like that because
You shouldn't.
we've done the research. But I'm saying it just to put it out there.
That's what you gotta do.
Just so I won't have any inboxes. So
Don't be asking him for his chemist information.
I'm just
Do
telling
your
I'm
research.
just telling you what you need to do. Okay?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know you find you a chemist. You know you guys create a nice formula and an ingredient story, and you guys can go from there. You know you find some bottling and some labeling, somebody that can bottle it up. Sometimes a chemist in their plant, they can do the bottling and the packaging for you. You know, so it just all depends. You know, as far as what you want to do, and then you know you establish relationships with some of the stores, with some of the vendors, and you may have to beat the pavement a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, one of the easier ways to do it is you formulate and you create a team. You know, and you get you a team together, and with your team, you guys start doing trade shows. So you're gonna have to
Get you a table.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give away a little bit.
Yeah.
In a sense, in
And
order
just
in
to
order
some
to build that
samples.
in. Yeah.
Bring people in.
Yeah,
Get
bring
them
all
trying it.
in. So, but that's one of the ways in which you kind of transition somewhat. Because once you start getting into like some of those bigger stores, let's just say for instance like a Target, or when you see those guys in Target, you know, and you see, you know, like with the Walmarts, the Targets and different things like that, you know, there's tiers even with that.
Yeah.
No, so like getting a Target is a little bit more, is a little more difficult to get into than let's just say for instance like your Walmart.
Really?
Walmart is not easy to get into. I don't want to
Yeah.
make it seem like
Right.
it's easy to get into.
Why is
But-
Target more harder? Because they just started to embrace black lines,
Yeah, they did.
hairlines, and clothing lines. But why is it harder than Walmart?
Yeah.
Red tape or political?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't
yeah,
gotta put it out there,
yeah,
but
you know.
okay.
So, but at the same time, they have different stipulations also.
Okay.
So with certain stores, if you don't sell, then you got to buy that product back. And so Target is one of those stores. If you don't sell, you got to buy that product back. So let's just say, for instance, they purchased
Wow.
$100,000 worth of product. You better not go shopping. You better.
That would a whole tight, baby.
You better make
Whole
sure-
tight. It's like
you
buying
better
a
Keep
house.
that money
You better make
to
sure
the
that-
side.
You better make
'cause
sure that product is able to sell.
Ooh-wee.
Because you got to do some of that marketing. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you absolutely do.
So you got to make sure that them products sell. Because
Yeah.
if not, then they're going to be.
Hey, come get your
You owe us
shit.
some money.
Look, come get your shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you said. I'm glad.
Wait a minute. We
Come get your shit.
it'll be waiting at the corner for you, and we will be expecting that money
We'll
by
have
Monday.
the box in the back on the dock. Come get your shit. No, but I'm glad you said that because in my when we were esthetician instructors, I talked to my students about those things, and the biggest thing that I preached to them was do private labeling.
Yeah.
A lot of
That's the
people.
easiest way to
That's
get
the
in.
easiest way to get in, to get on that road to like your Kylie or your Rihanna, stuff like that, and your road, you know. But a lot of them, they're still the chemist and whipping it up in the kitchen. But I really want to make it clear to our audience that you can't go in Walmart and
Not at all.
Target
Not at all.
and whipping up
No.
in your thing because you bought those cute bottles
Not at
off
all.
Amazon or Alibaba
Not at
and you
all.
made those accounts. That's not going to get you to that next level.
Not
You
at
still on the Payless level.
Yep.
Even if you're trying to get on the Nike and Puma level,
Yeah.
you got to you got to expend that money, hire that chemist,
Exactly.
hire that. And so I'm glad you saying that, because sometimes, you know, when you, and I said my students don't always hear me, they hear me, but they don't want to hear me. So I'm glad you said that, and I keep telling them,
Now, what I will
I'm
say
okay
is
with where you
if
start.
that's where you want to start, then it has
I
to
support
be,
it, but
has
you
to
got to
be-
know you got to grow.
It has to be direct.
Correct.
You know, so you want to just probably, for somebody who's doing that, who's creating and formulating in their home, be open and honest about that.
Yes.
Also,
Be very
but not only be open and honest about it, you have to really do direct sales.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now, but at the same time, when you're doing that,
You got to be consistent with them ingredients.
you got to be consistent, and not only that, you want to make sure that it's a few things you have to have in place. You want to make sure you got some insurance in place.
Yep.
But you gotta make sure
Baby, you better preach.
You got to make sure.
Don't I preach that to them?
Hey.
You got to.
You better have that commercial general liability insurance.
Better have it, because if you're doing that, then you got to understand. What if somebody put that stuff on and their lips pop out?
Baby, that was my
'Cause you didn't
industry
know
for
the
18
ingredients.
years.
You
I
didn't know
tell
something
my
was supposed
students,
to be
I
noted.
settled the $1 million claims.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Because, and you're right, and just because today I settled a claim with a product that was in a gas station. This is my old career. It was a product in a gas station. They had went and sold it to a mom and pop. It was a weight loss drug. And a lady had a stroke. I had to fly to New York to settle this claim. And when the man was on the stand, you know what he said? He was like, yeah, me and my girlfriend, we be high smoking cocaine, and we whipping up the product, because she was a chemist. And we whipping up the product. They had some money, they packaged it, and they put it on the shelf. But they didn't had a commercial, they had some insurance, but not enough. And they didn't do the proper steps in like filing it with the FDA.
See,
All those things. You just
are
can't
important.
whip up nothing and say, I'm going to sell it as a product.
It's okay to start that
it's
way.
on status. It's okay. I ain't never knocking no hustle. Just like
But you
it's
can't
okay to
stay there. You can't
stay
stay
on the
that way.
corner and sell drugs.
can't stay
But
there.
what you going to do with that money? You can't stay there.
can't
So
stay
I'm
that way.
so glad you said that, because people don't understand. I don't want to sell them a dream that you whipping up in your kitchen today, that's going to get you in Walmart. It's not. It's not. So, I'm so glad you said that.
Well, you know what, ladies and gents, we definitely had a great time on the podcast.
did.
I do appreciate you coming on. We definitely welcome you to come back.
I want to talk to you some more.
We gone.
You got it. We
think
gonna connect.
We
Yes.
have
Matter of fact, me and you,
Yes.
we gonna have coffee.
Yes.
Cause
I love it.
I'm gonna pull you close.
Yes,
Hey.
please.
I'm gonna pull you close.
Because
I love it.
and I know this is not, but I always pray for a mentor in the way that I feel that works for me. Like, we need to develop me. How do I develop me? And I had a great foundation. I had a wonderful foundation. I had an opportunity that I don't think most get. So I just want to be bigger, grow bigger. And really instill that confidence to fly high, because I used to always tell people I ain't just meant to just be here. I don't care what nobody talking about. I ain't just meant to be here. But yes,
Rance
I
gonna hear
definitely
that
want to
push.
reconnect. What I would love for you to do, please shout out your Instagrams, where everybody can get your product and things like that, just to remind them before we go ahead and end the show.
All of my grooming handles are at Rance John. Okay. All of the product handles are TCM Collection.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Yay.
Website,
Yay.
tcmlifestyle.com. Website to book with me is Rance John Styles with an S.com.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
Well, this was a great show. Thank y'all for listening to Lashing Out, Cutting Up. We'll be back.
Yes.
Dope. I like this.
Yeah,
Thank you. We can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, because
We got some more things in store. We're going to share with you off the camera, but
talking about
yeah.
dream big, we dreaming big.
Yes.
We trying to really do some
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
But
yes,
yeah.
Well, thank you, people. Good night.